Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hipfire Podcast. Now, today we have a very special guest. She has the most amount of pro points of any female player in Infinite Warfare, World War II, Black Ops 4, and Modern Warfare. She's the only female player to qualify for the national circuit in World War II, and was the only female to qualify for the EU Amateur Champs in Modern Warfare. Please welcome Emilia Rose. How are you doing, Amelia?
Hi, thanks. I'm doing good, thanks.
So, just one thing we like to do with all our guests, we like them to introduce themselves, tell us how they got into Call of Duty, what their favorite Call of Duty is, and what team that they root for today.
Yeah, well, I started playing COD when I was really, really young. My dad and my brother got me into playing COD. I think the first COD I ever played was COD 2, the big red one or something. So I've always been into COD, and then I did some competitive sniping and montage stuff for a little bit, and then eventually I got into the competitive scene. And even though I'm an EU player, I got into the NE competitive scene through all the female tournaments and stuff. And then eventually I met a few EU girls and I started going to LANs with them, and it just progressed into what it has become today. So yeah.
So, speaking of sniping clips, I believe Seth has one to show our audience today.
Yeah, we dug something up. It's gonna be quite a nostalgic trip for a lot of you guys too.
Oh, this is old.
Yeah.
You wanted control, so we waited. I put on a show. Now I'm naked.
This was the first sniping montage video that I probably ever did.
When it goes like this.
This is just after I stopped playing competitive sniping. And I got into a feed montage and stuff like that.
I love that kind of stuff. It brings back the glory days of COD montages with the music behind it. It's perfect.
Yeah. I love watching that stuff. It's so nostalgic.
Yeah.
Eye reaps and stuff like that. It was proper 2012 era stuff.
Oh yeah, I miss when the players even competitive, they used to make their own montages, Crim's montage when he hit right after AW with all those clips was really cool. I miss that. But how did you get into competitive sniping in general?
It's this is gonna sound so weird of a story. Back in the day, me and my dad could only share one Xbox, so he would play on my account because we didn't want to pay for two accounts. So when he was playing COD, he would play on my account, and one night he ran into these people and he started playing pubs with them, and they happened to be competitive snipers. So when I got on the next day, on my account again, they asked me to play pubs with them, and then I started actually speaking to them, and they were the guys that got me into competitive sniping. And I think we were something stupid top 3 on the EU sniper leaderboards thing. Yeah, we were we were a good team, and then it was the same with the female competitive sniping, which was actually a thing as well. I think my team, it was NA leaderboards mainly, and my team was EU, and we beat the number 1 ranked female team on there, and they refused to put us as number 1 because they didn't know us, so they put us at number 3 instead. And it was okay. So yeah, that's a weird story of how I got into that, but yeah, I still know quite a lot of people from competitive sniping back in the day, and I still speak to some of them, so
That's cool.
it's
Really cool.
been a long time.
So you went from competitive sniping, then switched into making montages. What was the decision behind that, and how did you join an organization like that?
Yeah. So essentially, the competitive sniping scene had started to die off a bit because it was mainly on Modern Warfare 2, and obviously new cards were coming out, and yeah, I just wasn't as active on the other cards, and I was slowly starting to lose my interest in Modern Warfare 2, even though it's my favorite game. Doing the same thing for 3 years straight, eventually just burn you out. So
Yeah.
I tried something new. Some of the people that I did competitive sniping with had started doing the same thing, so I was just playing with them. I got into a group of Norwegian guys, and they made their own team, and eventually I joined them for a little bit, and then there used to be like recruitment challenges, I guess, where you'd like change your like clan tag into like something specific, and you have to get close to the clan tag. So I just did that until I got into fantasy, which I think it was like a medium-sized team. They had like 40k like subscribers on YouTube or something. So it wasn't like FaZe clan like big, but it was still like something, I guess. And that's what I was doing until I started competing like properly.
That's pretty cool. What did your friends and family say about you like gaming and like joining all these teams and making these montages?
I said like my like family didn't know like the proper like extent of it, I guess, for a while. People that I went to school with knew about it, and like I don't know, it's like they used to think that I was over exaggerating at how good I was at COD, and like they would continuously like try to like 1v1 me all the time, or like every time we'd come in, like when a new card was like dropped, they'd be like, "Oh, what level are you now?" Like to see if I was a higher level than them still. And some people found my like feed montages and they thought it was like funny, I guess, because they didn't get it. They thought it was like stupid. So I like never really told my family about that until I started like competing properly. Like I don't think they know about the feed montages still.
So you'd have like classmates try and 1v1 you, and I'm assuming they got beat pretty bad.
Yeah, no one ever beat me.
Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting. But Seth, why don't you take it away with the next question?
Yeah, so you mentioned you switched over to variant eventually, and what was the main decision? Was it like the competitive spirit and vibe in the EU? And then also, what role did you like assume yourself into?
Yeah, like I one day, like, do you know, like back in Modern Warfare 3, there was like clan things clan wars. Yeah. Like the competitive sniping team, not competitive sniping team, the YouTube feed team I was in decided to like do it one night, and like for some reason we came across like this other like 6-man of like girls, like American girls, and like I was like, that's interesting. Like I never really see that like too often. So I added them, and like essentially like I just started like talking to a few of them, and they asked me to join their little like clan thing they had going on. So I did clan wars with them, and they told me like they used to play these ladies' nights. It was hosted by a guy called Schooly, and like most female players and back in the day would probably know who Schooly is because like he ran so many female tournaments, and but everyone was American, so I was the only European at the time, so I was like alone playing these tournaments at like 3 in the morning on like a school night. I could just stay up and play them, and even on the weekend. And I don't know, like I never really used to play pubs that much apart from like the clan war stuff, so I had no idea like what like AR, SMG, like objective like stuff is, and I kind of just assumed like the SMG role because that's just like what I used to use when I did play pubs, and that's what I still do now. But eventually he did an EU one, and he asked me like if I find some like EU people, do you want to do an EU one? So I was like, well, yeah. Obviously, I don't want to keep playing at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so he found these girls, and these girls were already established in the EU competitive scene. Like if I like name them, people would know them. So like Jules, Morgan, Rebecca, Shannon. Like they all went to lands over here. So I played against them. Like I like trashed them. Like it was not even close. And they asked me if I wanted to go to a LAN with them that was coming up in like a few months' time, and I was like 14 at the time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they were all like 19, 20, and that's how I got into it. I went to my first LAN with them. My dad took me because my dad loves COD, and yeah, my dad loves that stuff now. Like,
that's cool.
That's
he always asks how things are going, and like when I go to like a LAN, he'll ask me like how I did, or he'll message me throughout the weekend like see if things are going well or not.
That's pretty cool. What LAN was that? Which was your first one?
It was called EGL 10 in Sheffield, and back in the day, like EGL used to run most of the LANs over here. They're not really so much now. But they were like the big tournament people were like back in the day for LANs and even online tournaments. So yeah, it was in like Black Ops It was the last Black Ops 2 LAN in the EU, I think. So it was towards the end of that season.
Oh, shit. How do you guys end up doing at that event?
I mean, we didn't come last, but we didn't do well. We were like an all-girls team, and my dream at that time was to like play with other girls and do well. After that LAN, I kind of like had a realization that maybe that wouldn't be possible because I felt like other people didn't put the same amount as effort in as I did. But then I like stayed with them for another few months after that, anyways, and we went to like the first Ghost LAN together, and that didn't go very well. So that was when I was like, I kind of want to like branch out of like female only stuff now, and like try and be like the best that I can actually be, rather than like the best female.
Yeah, I was
Would-
gonna ask you about that because I saw you tweeted recently about the female community, and you just talked about how the female only COD is so toxic and it makes me sad. What is like what was behind that tweet? And like I know you mentioned you want to do your own stuff now and kind of branch away from that, but
Yeah.
why is it so toxic?
It's just always been like that. I don't know why. Like you'd think like there would be like an uplifting like kind of thing to it because everyone gets enough shit from guys anyways.
Yep.
So you would think like that people would support each other, but it's really toxic. I really couldn't tell you why. I'm really not a fan. A lot of people that I know have said the same thing when they like stopped competing, that they were like, surprisingly, like the female only stuff is way more toxic than their co-ed mixed stuff. People are just like trashing each other all the time. They just like shoot personal insults at each other so easily. They accuse each other of like cheating, like if they lose all the time, like that someone's ringing on their account.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
And then this tweet was brought on by I got asked to play in a Latin American female only league. And I decided to play for fun because it's the off season and it's with my like friends and stuff. And we got like insulted so much. Like I got called like a tranny at some point, like for no reason, like out of the blue. And they would always just like they were just really mean to us, like because we were in like Latin American
Right.
essentially. It kind of just came out nowhere, and like I had people tweeting me like, "Oh, if you came to a LAN over here, like you wouldn't beat me," like out like unprovoked, like we didn't say anything to them. And I was like, "This is exactly why I left the female scene in the first place."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's like really like petty toxicness. Is the best way to describe it.
At what sort of go back? At what point did you like see that this like Call of Duty esports thing could be a career for yourself?
I would say probably when I was about 18 or 19 because I like quit for a few years because I didn't like the jetpack games like Advanced Warfare and like stuff like that. They also made it 18 plus, so I
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
like
true, yeah.
compete until I turned 18, which I think was the end of Black Ops 3.
Mhm.
So again, when it came to Infinite Warfare, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't play it. I didn't even buy the game like at all. And then some people asked me to play one day, so I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll download it. This is in like January. And I played it like casually that year. It wasn't like anything like hardcore because I was in my first year of university. And then the next year after that, so the start of World War II, I decided like that I wanted to try and take it serious because no other girl had shown up at that point to like do anything, and like that was still kind of what I wanted to do. And at the same time, I was like GM in Overwatch, and I was winning all the new tournaments, and I was like global in CS, and I was playing like the WESG qualifiers, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
I'm getting like really far in these games, but like they're not my actual passion. Like my actual passion is COD. So I decided to like drop Overwatch, drop CS:GO, and then like just put like my full like gaming time, I guess, into COD because I wanted to try and actually get somewhere again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting because I know that CS:GO female scene and the WSG qualifiers are pretty intense and like pretty popular. That's cool that you touched that scene as well. But coming back to COD though, is there like a particular reason why you kind of circle around the same teammates like Brian Nader, Milo, or Rye beams.
Yeah. I've been playing with Brian for a while since I came back in like World War II, and it was mainly because he didn't really care that I was a girl. Like at that point, like people just assumed that I was bad because I was a girl, which is a sad assumption to make, but that's just kind of how it was. And he didn't like make that assumption. Like he just heard that I was good, so he wanted to play with me. And same with some of the other Spanish guys. Like I've had like a much better time playing with Spanish people than playing with like British people for some reason, and I've had like way more success with them. And like Brian's a really good player. Like he used to like win stuff like back in the day on like the PS3 days, and
Oh,
he
wow.
knows he knows like the effort and the grind that you have to put in and the steps you have to take to get good. So if I can continue playing with him, then I will, just because I trust him. Milo again is someone I've known for like years. He's again same person, like go for the grinding. And a lot of people like I've this year especially, like I played it with a lot of pickup teams like pretty much every weekend with Brian. Like it was like me, Brian, like we would just swap out players every weekend, and like you would just see like there's certain traits in people that like they just don't want to win, or like they get tilted very easily. And like I want to avoid stuff like that, especially this year, because I feel like this is the year like that I'll probably put the most effort and time into. So I don't want to like surround myself with people that like don't want to put effort in, or like they get tilted very easily over things that don't matter. And Brian and like Milo have like proved that they're not like that, even though Milo has his own team this year. But I'm probably gonna end up making another team with Brian again this year. Try and find like two people that will make it work.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear already that you want to find people that sort of take it as seriously as you. That's one of the reasons why you stopped playing with women in the past. That's why you're competing with the people you are today. So take us back sort of to how is franchising, has it changed your outlook on the competitive scene, and what was it like competing in this amateur scene for franchising year one?
Yeah, I think franchising, it's a hard one because like a lot of people don't like it, and like the way that it's been done, like you can't, when you used to play like at lands and stuff, like you had a chance to get into like their groups with the pro teams, and obviously you can't do that anymore. And some people feel like that's ruined the like amateur scene, and like the path to pro is a lot harder now. It's also like a lot more based on who you know.
Yeah.
Like especially now, like if you're a top player and you don't have a good agent, like your chances of getting in the franchise are really, really bad. Like, because a lot of people don't realize, like, it's not just about skill anymore. Like, you have to have people that can network you into like the people that work at the franchise and like the people who manage it. You can get like your name like pushed into consideration when it comes to building like rosters or like getting a sub spot. Hydra, for example, like his team never won anything this year, although you could say like they were a good team. But what got him a spot over the rest is that when he was like under 18, he was winning everything, and like he didn't have a big social media presence, and he got a really good agent this year. I mean, he's called Steve. Like he has a lot of people under him, like Insight, a lot of people, and Toby, and
Mac.
yeah, Mac, and he has a track record of getting people in the franchises, and that's who Hydra has as his agent. And he got into New York, even though he didn't get multiple wins this year in like tournaments and stuff. He still made it because he's good and he has someone that will network him. And a lot of people lack that. I don't think they realize that having a good agent is super important now, and they feel a bit like, I don't know what the word is, like they feel upset that they don't get a shot as easily, and
Mhm.
you don't get to prove yourself as much when you can't play against the top teams anymore. Like the dynamic of how you get into the franchise is way different than how you got into the pro league in the past,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
people are having a hard time adapting, I think.
Oh no, for sure. Because fun fact, we actually talked to Steve recently. He hit us up because we were talking about Hydra. So he sort of gave us a little insight on how he was scouting EU talent, how he sort of found Hydra, which was really cool. And I think it's a really important part because I think, yeah, with the franchise, like you're right, it's so to get in, you really need to either know someone or have someone like an agent that can help you progressing. Because we're seeing guys like Dave, Vortex,
Afro.
Afro,
Yeah.
potentially not even getting a chance or not even being rumored to or linked to any of these like franchise teams when they dominated the year. So I think it really just goes to show how important it is to sort of get like a foot in, whether it be through an agent or through friendships. Because I think even like guys like Hollow and Draza got picked up on Optic LA because they were friends with TJ, and like Mac was friends with the New York guys. I think Steve said the only person that didn't have like a friendship slash network was Awakening. He
And
got
he was
off.
just
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
He was
regardless.
crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he,
it's just like that now, isn't it? Like, I think that's the way a lot of franchises have gone. Like, because we don't have like a proper rank system in game, I guess. It's hard to scout people through skill alone. Like, in like League of Legends, like, do you have challenges? The challenger leaderboard. Like, if someone is insane at League, like, you will know them and you'll play against them on a daily basis in solo queue. Same with like CS when they had like the rank S stuff in ESEA or like level 10 in Face It. And
Yeah.
even like Overwatch has like top 500, and that's how people get scouted. But we don't have that in COD, so you can't really like rely on your skill alone anymore. Which is, you can sit here and argue like that's not the way it should be, but until things change, that's just the way it's going to be from now on, I guess.
Yeah, and speaking on networking, I saw that you on COD Gamepedia have either competed or coached with guys like D-Real and Louis CM. Well, what kind of put you on their radar, and how did that kind of interaction go with some of the veterans?
Um, Essentially, like, as much as like people like not like to hear this, like that, I'm like dating Daryl, and
Okay.
he's like coached me a bit this year as well because now that he's taken up his coaching spot, so he's helped me out massively this year in terms of like improving and stuff like that. And I know like some people will probably say like that's probably the only reason why is because we're dating or whatever. But even before we were like dating, like he like really like believed in me and gave me advice all the time. Like back in the day when he was still teaming with like Carbines and Xerox and stuff. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I got like my chance and stuff like that. To be honest.
And then how is playing or coaching with Louis as well?
Louis, honestly, like Louis is like a great guy, but I don't think I really like coached them that much. I think I was just
Okay,
put on the coach spot. The one like me and Daryl have like the most like back and forth with each other in terms of like coaching and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed you mentioned him in your tweet that you made this year. Just thanking everyone that made this year a good year and stick around and compete for next year. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if we want to get too into to everything that happened, but what was it like having a supporting cast in esports when everything kind of hit the fan?
Yeah, like essentially, like I was having a really hard time before LCQs finding a team, and Brian went to well, I kind of pushed Brian into team with the Spanish guys, like Methods, Tahor, and Rancor because they needed people, and it's kind of selfish of me to like keep him with me because I want to play with him. It's like he needs to do what's best for him, which then left me like alone, and I did like quit. I like put out like a quitting tweet
Hmm.
before the LCQs because I just didn't think anything was gonna come up, and Logic, Kells, Temps, they like teamed with me at Paris, and Logic like he like really believed in me, like no matter like what anyone else was saying about me at the time.
Hmm.
And Kells has always like stuck by me as well. Like I think like Kells is great. Like even like after I like retire, she'll probably still be playing COD, and I really hope that she like continues like what I'm trying to do because I really think she has like the talent to do it, and she's like just turned 18 or 19, I think, so she's still like young. She has the time to do it, so I'll always like support her. Like we've got each other's back, and when all like the ringing stuff happened at like LCQs, it was really tough. Like people are always gonna say what they want to say about that. I like deleted my like social media for a bit because I think it's unhealthy to like read all the stuff that was getting thrown my way. A
Oh
lot
yeah,
of people like I feel like a lot of people came from a place of like already like hating or disliking me. Like they kind of just jumped on the first opportunity they had to like tear me down because I either like said no to playing with them or like I like left their team like at the last minute. Which is sad, but I guess that's just the way COD goes. And Daryl told me like how bad it was getting, and he was like, "I really think like you should record all of your games today, just in case." So I did that. I like recorded all of my games, and then when the time came to like give my evidence into the CDL and GB, I like had it all ready, and I did say multiple times like I could give my evidence to people. They didn't want to hear it. Like one of my friends like turned against me really badly, and like I thought she would be one of the people to support me, which hurt a lot. And I sent her the proof, and she was like, well, this could be faked. Like you could be like in a share play, like just talking over it." And I was like, why would I do that? Like realistically, why would I do that? So yeah, I have evidence. I didn't get banned, and people still wouldn't let it go. Like I still get comments about it now, but like if you want to play at a high level, like things get bad. Like I can't imagine the amount of like flame that like Crimson gets in a day.
Oh yeah.
So it's just about like I'm just trying to learn to ignore it now, and like I feel like if I show that it bothers me, it'll get worse. So if I just ignore it, it'll probably just go away faster.
Yeah,
So
one thing I noticed, I was gonna say, like with Awakening this year, right? Because everyone was calling him a cheater, and he was saying he had a Cronus Max, whatever. And Awakening didn't really say anything. You know, he was just really quiet about it, and it kind of seems to have just fizzled out now, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like you had like other people as well, like Krim, like speak out for him, like on his behalf, saying like
Yep.
people saying that like we're idiots. So that was really nice. So just to go back that, so you guys in preparation of like the qualifier, you guys recorded all your matches.
From my point of view, yeah, like I recorded it with like comms and directly from my PS4 as well, because obviously like you can't if someone else like plays on your account, it won't be saved to your PlayStation. So I like recorded it like directly on mine, and then I recorded it in my Streamlabs, and then as a third precaution, like Daryl came in our Discord and recorded our comms as well. So basically like had ourselves covered in like every way possible.
Yeah. So besides all the allegations, what was it like, that feeling of like actually qualifying for EU champs?
I mean, like it's hard because like I thought it would have been a really great moment for me, but instead it was like a really horrible moment. And like I've said like a few times that I would rather have just not even qualified, because like the amount of like hate that I got from it, I don't think it really outweighed it, and it kind of ruined a good moment for me. Well, what should have been a good moment. And in the end, we didn't get any like pro points or money from it. Because by the time that all passed and like we were like trying to scrim, people had blacklisted us, so we couldn't really get scrims like that easily. And then because of all like it's kind of normal that we would start to have arguments and stuff like that. Like people were really frustrated about the whole situation, and they took it out on each other. So our scrims were not good. We like weren't prepared at all. So like it kind of just ruined everything. And in the end, like we didn't get anything out of it. So I like kind of feel sometimes that I wish that we just never played the qualifiers. But at the same time, like it's a good thing. Like, but I think people just tried to turn it into a bad thing, and I'm kind of still like in the middle about if I feel good or bad about it or not. And I just think I can just shut everyone up this year anyway. Like I can just go and do it again. So I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna add, like, a good way to look at it too, though, is you mentioned that you're gonna always support Kels and her career that's going forwards. Do you feel like a little bit of pressure in the sense that every kind of milestone that you make, whether it's qualifying for champs or placing in a certain position, do you feel like that's like opening the door for more women to come in and do the same thing, or is that something you don't really think about?
Yeah, like to be honest, like I have thought about this a few times, and I think that since I've like played and I've done things, like other girls have like found it a bit easier to try and compete. Like at least in my opinion, like it's nowhere near as toxic anymore. Like I used to get like crap all the time from people. But I think it's slowly changing now, and maybe that's to do with me. Maybe it's just to do with the scene growing up. I don't know, but I'd like to think that I helped make things better for someone else if they try and do it in the future. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You wrote the article back in 2018 about um, harassment and abuse regarding women. Do you feel like that's you said it has gotten better?
Yeah, I think it has gotten better. I used to get it a lot, like really, really bad, and I don't really get abuse so much anymore. Maybe that's just because people know who I am now, or like they know that like I'm not like awful at the game just because I'm a girl. You know, like I don't get any like, oh, your boyfriend's playing your account anymore. I don't get that.
That's good.
So
Yeah, it's
yeah, it's gotten a bit better. There's still some toxic people out there. There always will be, but
Yeah.
the general like sense of it, I think has gone better.
Yeah, moving forward, I know we've seen the idea, and it's happened in the past of like a female pro league. We had, I think, with Black Ops 3. I don't imagine anything like that would happen again with franchising. But what do you think? I know you've talked about it in the past. Do you think there's any pros, or do you think it would be beneficial for the league to bring something like that back to get more participation from women in the scene, or do you think it's more of a negative to be able to segregate both genders?
Yeah. A lot of people would probably say that they like the idea of it, but I personally don't. Like it was a community run
Hmm.
Right.
thing, the female pro league, and I always said from the day it was made that I don't like the idea of it because it's it's like capping yourself, you know, to a ceiling. Like you like put this restrictive ceiling over you, like you're playing in the pro league, the female pro league, and then you win it, and you consecutively win it. Then what do you do after that? Like,
Right.
there's no challenge. There's no one like challenging you to get better if you consecutively win it all the time. So it's like you're capping yourself or like putting a barrier up against yourself. Like, oh, I can't be better than this. Like, you know, the best like females all you can be, or like the best female team. When in reality, I feel like the mindset should be like the best player you can be out of everyone, not just
Right.
like not just girls. And a lot of people put this like ceiling over themselves where they're just like, yeah, I'm the best like girl now, or I'm the best girls team, and you know, I'm happy with that. No like further like tests or challenges to like how good you are. No more improvement. You know, you just stay there. And like I feel like if you're a proper like competitor and you're like a really competitive person, like you just won't be happy with that. I mean, I'm not happy with that. uh, and if you're happy with that, then I mean that's fine as well. But like, I just feel like you should be aiming for more than that.
No, that makes sense for sure. Definitely, like you seem to have a pretty good competitive spirit, which I like to see.
Yeah.
But kind of switching gears a little bit here to more of like game kind of questions. I know a bit before we started the podcast, we're talking about Cold War, and you mentioned that you played that on both PC and PlayStation. Do you have a preference so far, or do you kind of just
um, I don't know. It's hard to say.
like?
I don't think I'm gonna buy a PS5. I think I want to play on the PC.
Mhm.
Just because I think everyone's gonna move to PC and like you can like change the settings around. Like you know the bushes on Cartel we've already seen. How
Yeah.
hard it is to see people through bushes on the console version compared to like low settings on PC. Um, I recently just dropped a lot of money on a PC, so I wouldn't like go out and buy a PS5. And I don't even think you can you? I feel like all the pre-orders are sold out, right?
Yeah, a lot
Like,
of yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna just stick on PC for now.
What do you think about the change to 4v4? I know a lot of people on the pro league, at least, that are losing their spot were upset, but in general, the consensus seems to be that 4v4 is better for viewership wise and better for like competing. Were you happy about the moves to 4v4?
Yeah, I think 4v4 is better for COD. Like I never liked the 5v5 change for like many reasons, but
Mhm.
I do feel like the change to 4v4 should have happened when they were going to expand the franchise.
Yeah.
So it makes up for like the people like that get kicked off the main roster, for example, or like people losing sub spots, so they still have a chance to stay in the franchise. But I guess it was going to happen either way because like people weren't happy with 5v5.
Mhm.
I mean, personally, I think 44 is way better, but I still think they should have waited until the franchise expanded, and I don't think they're going to do that until maybe like next year, because I think they said they won't expand until they've had a full year playing at LAN.
Yep.
So
Oh,
that's not
wow.
going to come. That's not going to come for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
So I guess they just bit the bullet and did it, even though it had consequences for a few people.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of backlash received from that decision. But sort of moving forward, we've seen, especially this year, and we kind of touched on it, how important it is for players to build a brand in the scene, build a presence, whether it be on social media or just streaming, to be able to get your name out there as well as look more attractive to these franchises. What can you speak on that you've done to help sort of build your own brand, as well as streaming as well?
Yeah, streaming's honestly a big one that like admittedly I don't do enough of, and like I get like crap for that all the time from people that want me to do well. They're like, "Oh, you need to stream more." So I would say definitely streaming more. Like, you got people like you said earlier, like Louis CM.
Yeah.
Like he gets so many viewers on his stream when he plays like tournament days. And what better way to like show how good you are than streaming when you're playing a
Right.
tournament and you like do something like insane. I don't know, like mainly like I would say like you just have to act professional. Like a lot of people love arguing with other people, and sometimes I get caught up in that. And again, that's something that I get like a lot of like bollocking for like arguing with people for no reason. But like again, it's my mistakes. Everyone else can learn from them as well. So I'd say streaming, like acting professionally. Don't like drop to other people's levels of like arguing with people over things that don't matter in the long run. Having a good like I think just in general having a good social media presence is like the building blocks to like having your own brand. Like Luti again, like he's like put himself out there as someone that's like I wouldn't say like a clown, but he's like very like non-joke. He's very like jokey,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he has like a running joke in the videos that he makes. Like everyone knows him because he always like does like GG videos on people, and a lot of people like them. So it's just stuff like that, just finding like what people like and like what works best for you, essentially.
Yeah, I saw that you posted again on your YouTube channel. Was that just to, is that like a one kind of post idea of just exposing some more toxicity in Valorant, or is that could be a series that's gonna be ongoing?
I was planning on it being a series, but I just haven't got around to it yet. Like Valorant is so much more toxic than COD because of like the solo queue voice chat, and this year I was planning to start posting on YouTube again, so I'm just trying to like build it up during the off season and just release a few things, even if it's like Valorant and not COD.
Mhm. Well, I think there's definitely a market for that. I know there's I'm blanking on the name right now, but there's a CS:GO female player who did a whole series where
Miss Harvey.
I don't know. I forget. It's something kind of specific, but she did a whole series kind of similar to this, where she would kind of post the toxic moments,
Yeah.
and then she would either respond like very forward back or like very toxic back and have like a whole thing, and that was the series. So it definitely can be like I don't know what the right word is, trending, but it could be a
Yeah.
pretty big market for that.
I think a lot of people think like girls like over exaggerate how bad like things are in games like uh Rainbow Six, like Valorant and League and stuff, like just how bad how like toxic people are to you just because you're a girl, like for literally like no other reason. Like there's times where like I don't even speak. I think I just have my name like as Emilia Rose, and I've changed that now to something else because it's just like even if I don't speak, people just bring it up, and like I've had people when I was in character select, and they were like, "Oh, well, I don't want to play this game. We have a girl. Like this game is lost because we have a girl."
Jeez.
So I changed it, but like obviously because I call out, it still happens because I have a feminine voice. So yeah, people just seem to think it's an over exaggeration, and actually like from I don't know if it was this video or like through another tweet that I did, but one of like the developers from Valorant like DM me
Oh,
and was
shit.
like,
I noticed that. Yeah.
yeah, and was like asking like me about it and stuff like that. So people over there like they do care, like they're trying to make it better, but it's just not there yet.
Hmm.
No, for sure. But one last question, sort of switching gears back to the amateur scene. Uh, we've asked a couple of the amateur players that we've had on the show talk about it. But what improvements would you like to see in the future for the EU or AM scene in general?
Honestly, like I think we should really take like a page out of Overwatch's book and do a challenger, like an actual challengers like league
Hmm.
Hmm.
for each region. Like a lot of people get scouted through that in Overwatch now, and you have to play a qualifier to get in. So
Yeah.
it's not like pre-selected to teams or anything. Like you actually have to qualify to get in it. And I think it would help the path to pro a lot for starters, and it would also like help just improve the skill level in general because people are playing against each other all the time in like a competitive setting rather than like once a weekend or once every 2 weekends. It's like on a weekly, daily basis. And I think that's what COD is missing right now. Like we have the franchise, but we don't have a tier 2 league.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really big thing that we miss that we really should get.
Yeah, we had Zinx on recently, one of the AM guys from North America, and he was saying that it doesn't feel like a proper kind of scene because you have a bunch of weekends randomly, well, either every weekend or every other weekend, and he's just saying like you just go from tournament to tournament, not really improving as a team
Yeah.
because you don't really put the work in through the week.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like I said, I was playing with pickup teams a lot this year, and like after like the tournament's over, like people like just don't care. Like they'll like go into it like free agent because it wasn't a real team. They have like no desire to like stick around or try and make it into a team. Like people just hop from team to team to team to team.
Yeah.
There's no like real like grind going on because people, I guess, like people have the opinion that because like 1 week didn't go well or like 1 week you didn't get top 16, so it's chalked. They don't want to like go any further with it or put any more effort in. And if there was something to grind towards, like there wasn't like just once a week, like I feel like it would just improve
I
everything a
agree.
lot.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask quickly about that because I know like especially we don't see as much as in EU, at least I'm not as following their Twitters as much, but in NA all I see after tournaments is how many people are like sketching on each other or leaving
Oh
last.
God, yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
how
it's
yeah,
exactly the same. It's exactly
okay.
the same.
Look at us.
Honestly.
Look at us. Like, how stressful is it to manage that like roster mania after those events?
It's horrible because like there's been times where like I've known I was getting like snaked or like sketched on because people just can't hide it. Like they act so weird. Like they will like stop replying as often or like they'll dodge things and you're like, yeah, this person is like sketching
Yeah.
like so hard. Like no one's upfront about it, but you can kind of tell when it's happening, and it's just crazy. Like some things happen, you're just like, well, I didn't expect that. Like all the time, people people just can't seem to stick together. I feel like that's amateurs' biggest problem is that like they're always like looking like something doesn't work out instantly. They don't get instant gratification from it. They're gone. Right? They don't want to like put effort in like and build something up together. They just want like instant success, and that's just not how like things work in any scope of life. In any like it literally, if you go to like anything like job, school, like hobbies, like sports, like nothing comes naturally. Like you have to put the effort and the work in to be good at something. But people just want to be good like without taking those steps. They just want it to be instant.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, that's the one thing that's always confused with the AM scene is like, how can you expect to improve if you're switching your roster every
Every weekend.
Yeah, you can't improve when you're swapping roster every weekend. Like that's just how it is, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever change.
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
not.
like, hopefully something will give. I mean, we're seeing at least a couple more teams. I mean, LAG this year has their own academy team, so hopefully we see teams like FaZe had theirs last year. More teams will take that initiative. But moving forward, we'll move into our last segment of the podcast, which is called One in the Chamber. which for those of you who don't know, One in the Chamber is a section where you ask our guest, which in this case is Amelia, a series of questions, and she can only answer with one word. Obviously, being our guest, she can elaborate or add if she wants to, but typically we try to stay to one word. So with that, we'll go to the first question. So Amelia, who is your favorite teammate of all time?
Brian, yeah. That's an easy one.
Yeah. Who do you believe is the toughest player to kill on the map, or was the toughest player to kill on the map last season?
Hydra.
Fair.
Yeah, very fair.
Yeah.
What is one player you've always wanted to team with?
That is that's a hard one. Huh. Let me think for a second. Sorry.
All good.
Hmm. Probably this is a really random one, but probably a girl called Lily in NA. Like we never had to play together because obviously we're cross continent, but like she's like so good at COD. And if I had the chance, I'd love to like build something with her.
Does she compete in the NA AM scene as well?
She did for a bit, but I think like it's just so toxic at the moment that she's not interested. But she still like plays like Charles and stuff. She's like insane.
That's really cool. But moving forward, which organization / franchise do you want to play for the most?
Can I give two answers? I feel like I
Sure.
can't pick.
Yeah.
Toronto or Minnesota, 100%.
Oh, Toronto, get them.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on Toronto? Because
Um,
just because I'm from Toronto, so I'm a big fan of the Ultra.
yeah.
Relation about them.
Like I knew like the manager, like Wisdom or Dominique,
Sure.
and she's like such like a nice person, and like I want to go if I like ever get that chance, like I would want to go somewhere where like there's a lot of like female like positivity. So like Dom, I've had many conversations with Dom, and like I really like her vision and stuff like that. And also like Minnesota is
With Midnight.
owned by Midnight, yeah. So I would love to like. I've always looked up to Midnight and like the stuff that she's done and like COD and like sniping and stuff like that. So that would be like insane to like play underneath her.
Actually, really cool. Moving forward, what would you say is your favorite city to visit?
Probably. This is so hard. I've been to many places. I'm gonna say Madrid. Madrid was really nice.
Yeah.
And the last question: are you going to be in the CDL one day?
Yes.
There we go.
Nice.
All right,
I'm gonna say no.
yeah, I was like, please don't say no. I don't think that's a good way to end the podcast. But with that, unless you have anything else to say or ask Seth,
I'm good.
Amelia, any last things you want to leave out?
Yeah, go follow me on Twitter because I'm gonna prove everyone wrong again this year.
Nice.
Everything will be in the link down below. But with that, that'll wrap up our episode. Hope everyone enjoys. Leave your feedback and comments down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks.